Bing, ladies and gentlemen, that means it is 9 p.m. Well, really 9:04. 9:04, we're getting a late start. Fuck it. Welcome to Film Geek Primer. I'm your host, John Santo. Shu is not with us tonight, so there will be no theme song. I am sad, you are sad, we are sad. With me, as always, we've got Tremendo T. How you doing, sir?
Good night. How are you?
Doing well, doing well. How's the, is that a drum kit back there? I'm trying to figure out, no, it just looks like a plant or something, never mind. A lamp, maybe, way back behind you. Thought it might,
it's a lamp.
It's a lamp, thought it might be a symbol. And also with us is Mr. Warren, lounging on Tuesday nights. How's it going, sir?
I'm pretty good. There's a drum kit behind me over here.
I see that.
A really tiny one, so.
Yeah.
Party's in the back with Warren.
Yeah. Well, the party's always in the back with Warren. It's just we don't see. The problem is, he's got like dampeners or something, so we can't hear what's going on all around.
Party, like right going on over there. I'm over here with you guys, though. I'm focused.
That's right.
Talking about movies.
That's what we always appreciate. It's his professionalism that we admire. Yeah. Tonight we're going to be discussing a 2013 film actually released in the States in 2014, back in March-ish. Blue Ruin, which was it's not his first film, but I guess it's kind of his first big released movie. Jeremy Saulnier, I believe it's how it's pronounced, and stars Macon Blair. It is a revenge thriller, I guess, is how we are going to categorize it for the art of categorization. This was T's pick. So, Tremendo, sir, why this movie?
I just heard a lot of buzz out of it. The bloggers and the tweeters saying how terrific it was and fantastic, and I'd never heard of it. So I went in this not knowing a single thing of it other than people really liked it.
Now, did you see the one image that had always been floating around for it?
Yeah, the bloody shirt guy.
With the beard and the bloody shirt, yeah.
Yeah, so I thought it was a horror movie. People were talking
right.
about it was a horror movie.
Oh, right. Well, it has. I mean, it definitely has horrific elements to it. I would say. It doesn't fall under like a slasher. It definitely falls more into the revenge thriller kind of.
It was very
genre.
intense. It was very intense. I guess you could say. In some ways, like a horror movie.
Yeah, and it's a very slow burn is probably another way to describe it. So I guess T, we might as well start with you. So you want to explain the kind of the plot, kind of give us a general plot synopsis for it really quick?
Well, I think it's I think we can talk about when it's set. There's some cues of when it's set. I'm going to say it was set in the late 90s. There's some cues that it might have been set during that time, and we can talk about that.
Interesting.
Later.
Okay.
I think the voicemail. We'll get to it. So this is a guy. He's a homeless guy. It opens on him and his routine, and he breaks into houses, and we slowly learn that he's kind of just dropped out of society, kind of a vagabond, just bumming around through this intense trauma that happened to him in the past. And we learned that his family was killed, his parents, and we don't know the details right off the bat. We get snippets. We know that it was a tragic event. We don't get the full story. It wasn't like it doesn't unfold like a lower middle class Batman story where a guy's parents gets killed and so kind of like the twists and turns of the whole revenge plot slowly, like you mentioned earlier, there was a slow burn of the details. So he warns his sister, and then he learns that the killer is being released. So he pretty much sets his mind to tracking him down and plotting some sort of revenge, and it just goes from there, and things go from bad to worse. And like you guys said, it was pretty intense. Slowly unraveling, intentionally. You don't know the potential of this guy, which that's the effect the impression I got of him at first. And you just know that he's a lost soul and he's out for revenge. He's not really sure how to execute that revenge. So
right.
The plot goes from there.
Yeah, I believe it was originally pitched as, oh my God, I forgot what the movie was supposed to be, but it was basically a revenge thriller led by an idiot. was the original pitch for the movie, and it evolved kind of into something else. But you can kind of see where that concept kind of, you can see where that seed was planted to go. Okay, yeah, I can see how they started off with a real dumb guy, and then over time as the script developed, and I know that it took him quite a while to get the film made, and he was continually reworking the script, and they were workshopping it. He and Macon Blair, who I believe is like one of his best friends from childhood kind of thing, they've always worked together, and you can really kind of see that they have a solid relationship here as a actor-director team. So let's now. I've seen this film twice. I saw it when it was originally released on VOD. Actually, I was house sitting scientist Steph's place and charged it to her. So take that. And then so this is Warren. This is your first time, yes?
Yeah, this is my first time seeing it.
Okay, and T, this is your first time as well.
First time.
So let's hear your thoughts on it. How did you find the film? Because you went in thinking it was a horror film, and it's not. Did I lose you?
Who's going? Warren?
No, T, you.
Oh, me. Yeah, I mean, based on the very limited, pictures and press that I saw, and I kind of didn't want to know anything. I knew I understood it was a revenge flick, but I thought they were going to do some kind of horror twist to it, like maybe this guy turns into a maniac and just starts, things go from bad to worse. So that was my kind of guess where it was going to go when I first started watching it. But as it slowly turned, the idea of this guy is an idiot. He doesn't know how to go about this revenge plot. He's less an idiot and more a guy that's just completely broken. And in a way, this revenge plot fixes him because he's able to talk again. He's able to connect with his sister, who was also a survivor, and has kids. So this kind of gives him a reason to live, because in the early part of the film, he's eating out of garbage cans, he's living in his car, he's breaking into houses and taking showers. So I saw the character more as a broken guy whose thirst for revenge or need for revenge kind of gave him a reason to live. And in the end, I'm not sure where the term, I don't know if you guys know what blue ruin means.
Go ahead and explain it. Actually, yeah.
I don't know.
Oh, I believe it comes from. I believe it comes from a. I want to say it's like from a Faulkner book or something like that. Let me look it up really quick while you continue to chat.
So I like the fact that it's a very. I like the fact that it's low budget. I like the fact that it takes its time. It's very character driven. I think this guy, what's his name?
Macon Blair.
Macon Blair. He reminds me a lot of A.J. Bowen, who's in the kind of Ty West movies and Joe Swanson films. He's just a schlubby guy. He's kind of like everyman kind of looks, and he's a really good actor. He really just took the part and went with it. And so it's a solid little film. It's tense. You actually care about the guy. There's believable turns. One thing I really liked is the believable take on guns and how guns work.
The gun stuff was fantastic, especially procuring a gun and his attempts to get one is a really great bit.
Right. It's the bit where he couldn't take the lock off the gun. Even spoilers. There's a scene where someone gets shot from a great distance, and it even sounded realistic. You heard the shot. And there's a 1 or 2 second, break where you're not sure where the bullet's going to end up, but a shot's been fired, and I thought that was pretty cool. So little details like that really were really cool.
Nice, yeah. So Blue Ruin actually is not. I don't know where I got Faulkner from. Slang now archaic. A low-end gin, usually homemade. That's number one. Number two, complete and utter ruin or desolation. So my guess is they were going for number two on that one. Although Blue Ruin began as a generic nickname, several brands later adopted the name in different times and places, and the latest adoption of that has been the title of this. So Warren, this is a movie that I felt would be halfway up your alley and halfway. I wasn't sure if you were going to really dig it or somewhat go, yeah, it's fine, but I was bored. So where did you go with it?
No, actually, I love this kind of movie where You know, I think LT went through all like the details about it, so we don't need to talk about the details. But I like a movie where, I mean, the story in this movie was ultra simplistic, and it was the details and really the specifics of how you went about, you know, getting from point A to point B to point C. That was what I found enthralling about it. You know, it was the cinematography was beautiful. I mean, like all the shots, it looked great.
It's a really good-looking film, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you're just kind of stuck staring at it, or at least I was. But you know, it was you know, just everything about like his movements, every little action that he did, and everything had purpose. You know, like there wasn't a lot of wasted scenes or like how did he get there or how did he get there. Like you knew exactly what he was going to do. Everything from you know, taking the arrow out of his knee. I mean, there were sometimes it felt like, well, okay, this guy must know what he's doing. He was like a Rambo sometimes in the way he prepared and like got set up the house like when he knew they were going to stalk him. Like he was ready for all this stuff. But all those little details to me were just it was just made it more interesting. I mean, to me it played out like if I have to compare it to another movie, it was similar to like Drive for the guy who did Drive, the movie he did before that called Valhalla. You guys see that?
Yeah.
Yep.
Which is really just more cerebral, but visceral at the same time. You know, it's a lot of slow shots. I mean, you could also compare this in some ways to like a Breaking Bad episode.
Right.
You know, where it's like all the actions are slowly kind of paced out, you know, leading up to something. And that's what I found really interesting about this movie. You know, just like kind of watching this really simple story that doesn't play out over a really long period of time. But you're with the character pretty much the whole time, with the exception of maybe driving down some roads. But even then, you're driving down some roads with him too, you know.
Right.
So, and he's doing stuff, and things are happening, and you, yeah, no, I was hooked on this movie. I thought it was great.
Yeah, it's very much procedural in an odd way, and the thing that kind of threw me was I was expecting it to be a movie about the climax being revenge. But really, that's the end of the first act. I mean, the first act ends with him killing the man who he believes killed his parents, and then it's really much more about the fallout and struggling and dealing with the fallout. And he's not. It's funny because it's like, again, like I said, they start off like an idiot trying to get revenge, and really he's not. He's an incredibly smart guy and ingenious in interesting ways, but he. It's much more like a real person having to going out there and committing revenge. It's not a movie about revenge as much as like almost in a weird way a docudrama about watching a guy get revenge and how that's not the end of it. Bigger shit happens after.
It feels more real than it does like on a normal revenge movie, you know, and how it plays out.
He doesn't get superpowers. He doesn't know how to aim a gun. You know, every shot lands right where it's supposed to.
Nothing happens perfectly. You know, like everything, like there are everything that could possibly go wrong. Like I didn't think it went from bad to worse. I think it just kind of kept. It felt like it was more. It felt like realistic, playing out realistically, rather than like kind of like, oh my God, now this happened, now that happened. Like if anything. Like sometimes things didn't happen when I expected things to happen. Like when he goes to the house at the end, you know, and you like there was plenty of opportunities for something bad to happen. If this was like a regular movie playing out like a regular movie, a Hollywood movie might. Like this was more of like it was really just cerebral. I mean, the thriller part about it is like sitting with him as he's like nervous as all hell, expecting something to happen, and nothing really happens, you know, until he actually has to force something to happen.
Yeah, it's it has a what's the phrase that I'm looking for here? It does something that even basically says this is a very different kind of movie, which is near what I guess what would be the third act of the film. He has finally procured a gun from an old friend, from an old high school buddy who was in the army, and the high school buddy even says, you know, if you're going to do this, don't make speeches, just shoot. That's you know. This is not bullshit we're talking about here. Gun. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But he does make a speech at the end.
Yeah,
he does. Yeah,
that's the thing. That's what makes you nervous. You're just like, oh, you know, kind of fucks over.
Well, and it's not even a speech as much as he just wants it over. It's like,
Right.
and the way one of the beautiful things about this script is the way that information is doled out, because it gives you a very clear, concise kind of thing near the top of, okay, you understand that his parents were, very early on. He has some conversations with his sister, and he's met by a police officer who explains to him that that the dude has been let out of jail. So you quickly establish that his parents have been killed. The guy was in jail. He's just gotten out. Now our guy is going to kill him. And then the unfolding of the actual events of what led, of the actual scenario which led to his parents to be killed is just kind of is doled out in these little chunks to where what he originally thought he was doing and why he was doing it was completely obliterated. He did everything for the wrong reasons.
Right.
Other than to satisfy his own urge for revenge. His sister, I think there's a really great scene with him and his sister at a diner early on when she's buying him a burger, and they're kind of talking through this a little bit, and he says, he's going to kill. He confesses to her that he killed him, and she gets this great look on her face of just a little bit of like, oh God, no, would you really? And then, oh good. And there's stuff like that kind of peppered throughout the entire movie that really works well.
When the dude asked for ketchup, like that was a great touch. I love that.
A nice little tension breaker, yeah.
Yeah.
But it's and then the actual realization of what happened, and he even like one of the quotes from IMDb, which I won't share right now, is is basically him laying out all of this bloodshed because two people loved each other. That's what everything was about, and it's such a, and he even he makes the speech because he doesn't want there to be any more bloodshed, but
Right.
it's like there's a response that he has. He sets up the final, I won't say it's a final trap, but as much as a kind of, it's a trap of information, I guess. What he wants to do is learn to find out where this family stands on him killing the brother, and I guess another cousin was the guy in the car. But his phone message, it's like, it's not angry, it's not he's like, look, this is what we're at. I guess I didn't kill this guy. Well, I guess in a roundabout way I did, so I take responsibility for that. I just want this to end. If you want this to end, and it's this really kind of, he's always, I guess monotone is his delivery in an odd way, but it's not. But there's emotion behind it. But he's always very even keeled in his delivery, and it's a really neat little performance that Macon Blair gives. Let's see. Any other? I mean, I'm trying to think of what are the things we can discuss about it. I guess.
I was just thinking about when it's set. But I just thought that there's a plot point that kind of negates my thought. I was
going to say, I thought at some point they say like the guy went to jail in like 2005.
Yeah.
Or it said 93.
Yeah.
93, and it was a 20-year plea. I forgot about that plot point.
Okay.
But I thought the fact that the guy had a flip phone, and there's
They were like kind of hill people, They were sort of like hillbillies.
It's true, and he needed maps, and then that woman offered him a map, and maybe it's just a class thing. But I just thought, it was I thought there was some point to it because he went so out of his way to show that he bought a map,
right?
Which is a detail I don't know if we needed, but and it was a nice little detail. But I just thought there was something about the late '90s that he was trying to say, and it's all blown out of the water now. So sorry.
I mean, they had an old limo. It was just, everything. It was old, but it was kind of like backwoods people, like everything.
Yeah, Virginia. It's West Virginia or somewhere.
Yeah, and that's the thing that I found really interesting is that the two families, there feels to be a definite class structure going on here, because the family that he's going to getting revenge on definitely feel more, they're more backwoods, either rural. They're definitely more rural, I guess, than him. And his family feels very, suburban middle class.
Yeah.
Right. Especially with the house and the place he lives and everything else like that. But and I was kind of, the one thing I was kind of fascinated by was the explanation of why all of this took place is a forbidden love story, and it makes you wonder, how did those people meet and fall in love? They seem, it's very almost like a weird Romeo and Juliet thing that you never see, because it's like you would never expect two types of people from those two different class structures to fall in love with each other.
The wife was dead. Did they say the wife was dead? The woman he fell in love with?
Yes, I believe so.
I thought that
Yeah.
was the. I thought the mom was there at the end.
No,
No.
no. Eve Plum was the sister.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah, I had to look that up because I thought Eve Plum was playing the mom, but I had to look it up, and her credit says she's the sister.
Yeah, there's no. It's funny. I don't remember them mentioning what happened to their mom. And then the father, of course, was diagnosed with cancer, and so we know what happened to him. We basically know what happens to everybody. I'm sure they explained what happened to the mother.
She gave birth to the kid, so.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
No, but at some
spoilers.
point, like it was like they really only gave you what you needed to know.
Yeah, you really just need
Really,
basic information.
it was really careful with its information, and it was really kind of like everything was really tight. Like you said, like they doled out the information sort of
Yeah.
on a need-to-know basis to kind of help the story unfold. And like I said earlier, I mean, the whole thing was really simple. I mean, there was no complicated storylines to it at all. Like there was really no B story or C story. I mean, you could
No.
probably dig around and find something, but it was like this one A to B story that was just really tight the way they did it.
Yeah, it's really economical in the facts that it doles out and how it's trying to tell you its story. And it's like I said, I think it's much more like a procedural because it's how does he get the first act is how does he get the revenge, and we watch him go through misfit scenarios and everything else to finally get to that point where and it's vicious. The attack is really just.
All the violence is really like in some ways sometimes hard to look at. Like it's like it's intense.
And it's not like long-winded, you know. It's other than the initial killing, but it's like everything else is very quick and very sudden. The stuff that takes place at the house at the end is it's just like because they don't know he's there, and the first bullet that flies during that scene is like holy shit. He's just it's like he's there to take care of it and get out, but of course that can't happen because he has to. It's no matter what, he's a guy who like has to explain himself. He always, whether it's to his sister, whether it's to, it's he has to explain himself and why he's doing what he's doing along the way, and he has to explain himself more. And I don't know if it's to himself, out loud that he has to do it and have people around there. But as he learns more facts about what took place, he continually feels like he has to readjust and maybe make people understand the situation that has taken place and why it is done, what has happened, except for which is the funniest moment when he has to pick up supplies to try to pull the arrow out of his leg, and the guy and he's talking to the pharmacist is there giving this look. He's like, well, you see, never mind, and just takes.
Forget it. I think it was awesome.
But even that's a failure because he totally fucks up and ends up passing out of the hospital to get it taken out.
Right, but I give him an A for the effort. I mean, he put in a lot of.
He tried. He tried. No, I think you have to give him an A for effort on everything because he does his best at every attempt to first get a gun to every step along the way. He tries. But fails most of the time, and to some extent survives basically through sheer luck. The attack on him at his house when he was worried about his sister and the kids.
Right.
That's
I was just going to say, I think you were right about him apologizing. I think a lot of it was for himself because he thought he was justified, so he felt right about doing what he did before. And once he figured out what really happened and he saw that his sister was in danger. Like that to him, I think was messed up. I think he would have died. Like he would have been okay if the cops came after him and he went to spend the rest of his life in jail. He would have been okay. But once it was all messed up, he was like apologizing to himself. And it was the same sort of. There was that one scene where Buzz from Home Alone kills the guy, and he said, but he says he goes, I had to wait till he was pointing the gun at you so that it was legally justified.
Right.
Like it was all about this justification that people can kill people, and Buzz has killed 2 people. That's what he said, And so I think what's his name? What was his name? The main guy, the character.
Dwight.
Dwight needed that sort of justification. Like he was okay with killing the guy. Like to him it was the right thing to do, but then his plan didn't just fall apart and get his sister involved. Like his whole justification kind of fell apart.
Yeah, and really, and it's funny because again, the rest of the movie, once the revenge is taking place, he doesn't even think of the fallout. He doesn't think what that's going to do to the rest of his family.
No, at that point, he didn't think about it. He didn't care.
No, No, and to some extent, his sister didn't care either at first until
No.
she realized, oh shit, her kids are going to be in peril as well.
Right.
But so yeah, so I guess let's see. So any other specifics? Anything else we kind of want to discuss about the movie?
The director did make a pretty interesting flick prior to this, Murder Party, and I think
Is this the one that just took place like in a warehouse or something like that?
Yeah.
Okay.
These artist type kids invite a random guy over to a Halloween party, and it turns out they want to murder him as an art project.
Like
So it's
rope, a modern day rope.
Yeah, pretty much, but totally outrageous. It's pretty decent. It's been a while since I've seen it, but it was pretty decent. Pretty fun.
Interesting. So how did you see it?
I don't remember. I think I rented it from Netflix.
Fair enough.
Yeah, or somebody knew how to copy. It should be on Netflix.
I'll have to give a look. I'll have to see if it's out there. I'd be curious to check it out. So recommendations: high, low, who for, what, why, when, and where. T.
I totally recommend it for people who enjoy, the thrillers. It's not high budget. It's not a thrill minute. It's like, Warren said, it's cerebral. It's slow pace. There's a slow burn to it. It's character driven, and it actually has a point too. It's not just gratuitous, and it's well acted, well shot. Just a pretty solid flick.
Cool. Warren.
Yeah, I would, pretty much the same group. I would say, I would totally recommend it to anybody, but I'd also say, the caveat is that it's very cerebral. It could be considered slow if you're into Hollywood movies. Like, this may not be for you, but that doesn't make it any less good. It's still a good movie.
Right.
Sometimes, if you think a movie's good, you might try to sell it to somebody, even if there's a chance they probably won't like it. Just like let them pass or fail. But anybody who likes those kind of cerebral thrillers, like you said, a procedural. That's really a simple story.
Yeah, it is the definition of a potboiler. I mean, you are literally watching something slowly build up until the end, where everything just kind of goes over the edge. And again, a very realistic, I think a very realistic look at revenge when you don't see what you're doing to those around you and to the people themselves. And some excellent direction, some very solid acting all the way through. I think I forgot what its full budget. It grossed 200 and some odd million, or 200 and some odd thousand, something like that. No idea what the budget was. But yeah,
that's too bad. It could have been a better. I feel like.
Well, I believe that looks like it's theatrical only. They don't release numbers for pay-per-view stuff, and I know that there've been. I mean, its pay-per-view is growing quite a bit, and there was quite a bit of talk about this movie well before. This is a movie actually that was turned down at Sundance. Maybe I think even turned down at Slamdance, or it did play at Slamdance, and then went on to play at the Cannes Film Festival. And I think in Director's Fortnight or one of those, and kind of became a hit. It was one of those movies where a lot of people said, "Oh shit, this is something worth seeing." So Sundance, they do get them wrong a lot of the times, and it's odd because it feels like this would be a movie that would just be perfect for Sundance because it really kind of falls within that perfect realm of this is what you'd expect from an indie film and this is what you'd expect from a commercial film. It's right in the middle there. But yeah, and so of course there was a lot of talk about it. It got on blogs and movie blogs and websites and a lot of podcasts and stuff like that. So it got a lot of good word of mouth. Hopefully it did quite well on pay-per-view and pay-per-view, and it will hopefully. He's got nothing listed yet for his next Mr. Saulnier, Jeremy Saulnier. It doesn't have anything listed to what he's going to be doing next. So fingers crossed. I would like to see him. I hope that this is a man who decides to forge his own path with movie making instead of the Mark Webb or the guy who did the guy who's now doing Jurassic World after doing the little time travel movie and stuff like that.
Mhm.
It's it's a lot of times today. It seems like indie filmmakers they have their one little hit, then it's like, okay, let's give them a giant franchise to make, and they are either sucked into the system or destroyed by it.
This guy's been working for a while, and he started as a camera operator. So
yeah, he does a lot of cinematography. He's been working on a lot of little things over the years. And I believe Blue Ruin he even kind of co-financed himself, or maybe it was Murder Party he co-financed, and then he was able to find somebody to help finance Blue Ruin for him on a much smaller level. Yeah, I'm kind of curious to find out what the budget was on it if it's listed. My gut is telling me it isn't. Let's take a look here really quick and see what we can find out.
The
USA
Jurassic
60.
World guy, Colin Trevorrow, he's developing Flight of the Navigator.
Is he really?
Yeah.
Flight of the what?
Flight
The
of the
remake?
Navigator.
The remake.
Finally, we've been waiting for that one forever, right?
Oh man, America's been clamoring for the remake of Flight of the Navigator.
Yeah.
That or Explorers, I forget.
Oh my god.
We have. It reached. It was fine. It did end up being released on 60 screens. And at 60 screens for that weekend, it made $73,000. Not too shabby. And I'm sure with pay-per-view and everything else like that, it pulled in a decent little sum. Mr. I feel so horrible. I can never remember your name. Saulnier, I'm gonna say. I can't wait to see what you do next, because really, again, and I think it's those years being a cameraman and everything. The guy has a great eye for composing frames and images, and they really work well within the context of the storytelling. And I think he did a great job with that. What's that? Yeah, it was. Yeah. I mean, he cut for tension. I mean, the guy knew how to how long to hold on to a shot. There were some great he didn't worry about the close-up as much a lot of the time. So I mean, he would develop a really nice master shot and just work with that, And so would cut into the close-ups when it was time to finally get in there and start building that emotion up and that tension up. So it's well worth it. It is streaming now on Netflix, so there's no reason actually why not to watch it since everybody and their mother has Netflix streaming now. Yeah. So no, excellent choice, T. Good for you. So Warren, you are next up on what we're going to watch. Let's hear it.
I thought about this a lot, and I didn't think about that much. I was
gonna say, come on, man, let's be honest.
Once we have emails back, a little behind the scenes note. We email each other to communicate. And Shu mentioned a little movie that I thought would be fun to watch, and I'm gonna go with Ishtar.
You're gonna do it, really?
Yeah, why not? I want to see. I haven't seen it in a long time, and
I've never seen it.
What? And
Never.
I remember thinking it got destroyed, in the reviews and I remember at the time going, this isn't that bad, I remember not hating it. So I wanted to see if that's still the case.
Yeah, I will confess right now, I own it on Blu-ray. I have seen it. It's a movie that it was a giant tank at the time. It was kind of like the Heaven's Gate of comedies. It even destroyed Elaine May's directing career. She's never directed a movie since. Stuff like that. And it was I talked with on a podcast that a friend of mine had. We brought in one of his guests she was an assistant editor on it. And there's some really bizarre stories that she was telling on that thing. They were actually cutting 3 different versions of the film. Warren Beatty was cutting one, Dustin Hoffman was cutting one, and Elaine May was cutting one on different floors of the building. It cost a fortune to make. I think it was like $60 million at the time or something like that. Which was at the time a very large sum, especially for a small comedy like Ishtar. But then over the years recently, there's always been an odd little cult following. It was a movie much like Heaven's Gate. It was destroyed before it was even released. It was all the press was all bad before it was actually made.
Well, that's like a movie nowadays like John Carter or Lone Ranger or something like that.
Yeah.
Those movies don't even get a chance to fail with the public. They're just destroyed.
I think both of them are not bad.
I haven't seen The Lone Ranger. I wanted to see it. I saw John Carter, and I didn't think it was that bad.
I adore John Carter as well, but I don't own it on Blu-ray yet, so I
do that. Take that, Santo. Yes. I do.
Do you really? Oh,
I'm
actually jealous. It was a movie where it was John Carter and I haven't seen Lone Ranger yet, so I can't speak for it. But John Carter was another one of those that and it's an interesting fad, and it's getting worse because of the internet and because of the ability to get information out as quickly as possible, where something can easily be destroyed well before it gets the opportunity to see the screens. There was also a book, I think it's called John Carter and the Gods of Hollywood, and it's by a blogger who was a huge John Carter fan and followed the entire making of it and like started his own John Carter site and all this other stuff beforehand, and was just kind of and basically ended up making a book about how the movie crashed and burned. And I think Dub and I talked about it, I believe probably like on our first or second show, because I had sat him down and had him watch it. And it feels, to some extent you could say it feels derivative because everything else is poached from it, but at the same time it does a great job with what it is. So yeah, I'm a big fan of John Carter as well. So Ishtar next week. I'm excited, I have to admit it. And which I find fascinating. I would have thought that was one that would have been on his shelf by now, next to the car. But no. So, do we have anything else that we have? We've got some spare time here. Does anybody want to discuss anything? Anybody have topics, movies they've seen recently? Anything they want to chat about?
I'm doing the 31 Days of Halloween.
Oh yeah, how's that going so far?
I'm gonna count Blue Ruin as a horror movie.
Okay. So wait. Today is the 7th. You've watched 7 films. Is that right?
7 films, yeah.
And what do you remember the titles?
Oh shit. Yesterday I watched Invaders from Mars, the Toby Hooper remake.
Sure. Okay.
And then this direct-to-video thing called Creepies.
Wait, hold on. Invaders from Mars. Hold on. Is that the one where the bodies get kind of sunken down, like their skin? Yeah. Like they're just skin husks at the end.
No.
Kind of like there's like a glowing orb and it steals their whatever their essence.
No, these things are like huge Stan Winston giant cockroach kind of.
Okay. And I'm thinking of something else.
By this brain creature. So yeah, Invaders from Mars. It's got like tons of names attached to it. It's got Stan Winston effects. It's got Dan O'Bannon script. Toby Hooper directing. It's got Karen Black. It's got James Karen. Bud Cort's in it, way too briefly, and it's a lot of fun. There's a lot of imagination in it, but it just lacks something. It just doesn't. It's not special or unique enough to kind of make you feel endearing to it. And maybe the creature effect had something to do with it. Creatures look way too goofy. It's not one of Winston's better works, but
well, I mean, don't forget it's a canon release as well, so it's
not like yeah, there's some budget stuff that's definitely there. There's some script stuff that's kind of hackneyed, but if you're taking like a 50s classic like the original and you're creating something uniquely of its era, then it succeeded because it's uniquely 80s. It's very 80s, very 80s sci-fi horror and kiddie stuff. It's basically a kids' film. There's some elements of horror, but it's really pretty harmless. But yeah, I'm glad I watched it.
Did you ever see the original?
God, it's been years. I mean, I must have seen it at some World Beyond back in the 80s.
Right. Yeah, I watched them both back to back, and it's really interesting to see what they did with the original that didn't work in the remake. The original just does some really. The camera work in the original is insane. It's just this really odd, like almost always from the point of view from a child. But then there's almost like German expressionistic sets, especially like the police station and stuff. We've got this really creepy tall desk and like these long plain hallways that the kid goes running into to talk to the cops and stuff like that. So it's a really kind of fascinating use of. I'm sure it was like a no budget movie as well, and the aliens looked. Good.
You kind of want to capture the paranoia of the time, right? The Red Scare.
Completely, yeah. So what are some of the other titles you watched?
I watched something called Creepies, thinking it was a Gremlins ripoff, but it turned out to be a spider direct-to-video, shot-on-video piece of crap. I mean, actually, no, I won't say it's a piece of crap. There's a lot of energy on it. It's very, very, very low budget, but you can tell the guy really likes horror movies and cheesy, 50s, 60s creature features, and it's completely inept and it's completely bad. But there's a certain energy that you gotta kind of admire.
Sure.
What else did I see? I saw. God, I'm blanking out. What have you guys seen lately?
7 days.
I know.
Really, man? Come on, you've only got 5 to go.
I know.
I did see. I saw. Right. I saw
Annabelle.
Gone Girl. Oh, did you? And so how was it? Oh, this is interesting. Okay, so the not prequel but kind of spin-off version to some extent from The Conjuring.
You want to read my one sentence review?
I do.
But what was the movie? I kind of missed it.
Annabelle?
Campbell?
Annabelle.
Oh, Annabelle. Okay, yeah, go.
The Conjuring. Okay. While trying to capture the dark magic of The Conjuring is no child's play, this demonic toy's chills and thrills are unfortunately met with dead silence.
Wow. Well, you were able to work in quite a bit there. That's
How long did that take you?
About as long as to watch Annabelle. I wrote it. Annabelle.
You worked on it the whole time while the movie was going. Okay, let's...
That I was gonna say, it almost feels like you had it pre-planned in a weird way. It's like you've been slowly and knowing that you had to throw in a Child's Play reference.
Actually, Demonic Toys was the last-minute addition.
Oh, okay.
There's a much better Evil Dolls a movie called Dolls, and it's by Stuart Gordon. And
right.
It's very 80s. It's really good. It's really solid. I think that's coming out on Blu-ray pretty soon.
Yeah, I think Shout Factory's putting it out. Yeah. So as far as as far as Evil Doll movies go, Dolls is your pick.
Dolls is my pick of Evil Doll movies.
Fair enough.
Child's Play's up there, but Dolls is just I have a soft spot for Stuart Gordon.
Right. Yeah. No. I haven't seen Child's Play since the theater, so I have no idea if it was worthwhile, if it holds up, and I don't even feel like I liked it the first time I ever even saw it. But who knows? Who knows? I may have to revisit it.
I didn't like it. I saw it a long time ago. I don't remember. I remember not really liking it. I think it was okay.
Yeah, it's I don't know. It was good Brad Dourif. I mean, you can't go wrong when you got Brad Dourif doing a crazy voice of a doll.
I guess you can't go wrong.
Yeah. I did see Gone Girl on Saturday.
Yeah.
And I thought that was. I did not realize it was It's a wicked comedy. It's like a really fucking pitch black comedy, which I didn't realize it was going to be as funny as it was, which was great. I thought.
Isn't it like Paul Verhoeven but funny? And
yeah, I guess really. I kept thinking that it was like at times it was like it's weird to reconcile Fincher's style with what the movie is, because I kept thinking I'm like, this is a fucking Brian De Palma story. It's a Brian De Palma movie through and through, as far as the story and everything else is, and the satire and everything else is played out. But it's told with this very, with David Fincher's very low key style, and it's that blew me away. And he doesn't do. There is not a single kind of bizarre CG moment in this movie, like in every other one of his films. You never have the montages of texts rolling through or the crazy CGI shots of cars and stuff like that. It's much simpler than that, and everything if there is a lot of CGI in it, it's completely invisible. Rosamund Pike is amazing. Rosamund Pike is fucking brilliant in it. And Carrie Coons, who plays Ben Affleck's character's twin sister, is mind-blowingly good as well. So if neither of them get nominations, it'll be kind of a real bummer. I could see them overlooking Rosamund Pike because it's I guess in a way a villainous horror character. Although as I say that, Kathy Bates won for Misery, but Carrie Coon's not getting a nomination will be a fucking travesty because she has such an interesting emotional arc through this movie. That it's really you can't give her enough credit for it. And Affleck, solid. Affleck is very good in it. Everybody else, Tyler Perry, great.
That's a weird sentence.
Yeah.
Shockingly good.
Yeah, well, somebody said somebody said that really he's just being exactly like he is in his other movies, just incredibly charming and giggly and everything else like that. It's just once you put him in front of a camera where the shots are well composed and everything else like that, you get to finally see him shine.
Well composed.
Yeah.
Take the lens
So
out. Turn on the camera.
exactly. Yeah, if you stop pointing the camera at people's feet.
Just keep the fat suit and the wig off of Tyler Perry. He'll do okay.
Exactly. Yeah. Maybe so. Yeah. Yeah. But even Tyler Perry admitted that he learned a lot from David Fincher, only because he says he's very much a big boisterous, hammy type of actor / cameraman or a filmmaker versus Fincher. So, but yeah, Doogie Howser, I liked him a lot in it. I liked everybody in it pretty much.
Yeah.
I feel bad for Neil Patrick Harris. He'll always be Doogie Howser to people. But whatever.
People love him. He's got a huge fan base. So.
Oh yeah. He's massive. Yeah. And it was funny because Scientist Steph couldn't get into his character that much because, I found this fascinating because he's gay. She couldn't reconcile that with his obsession for the Rosamund Pike character, and I was like, oh, that's really weird. I completely bought it. I was totally down with it because he's
that whole series, How I Met Your Mother. He's like a playboy, right?
Yeah. He's like the total pussy hound. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I never watched an episode of it, so
I never watched it either.
Shocked, but everybody knows. Yeah, so I guess that's about it this week. So next week we'll be watching Ishtar. Unless anything else, Warren, you see anything else you want to chat about real quick?
I've been trying to catch up on some TV, but I didn't really get a chance to see. I haven't seen any movies. I started to watch, and I never went back to it. 13 Assassins. It's like a Japanese movie.
Man.
Yeah, which I admit I haven't watched it.
You haven't, Santa.
I know.
Shut this thing down and watch 13 Assassins.
It's supposed to be
I stopped. I got busy and I stopped watching. I have to go back and finish it, but.
Start over, Warren. You're gonna need to start over.
I'll start over. I don't know if I can do it tonight.
No. Just start over.
Yeah, no, it's and I'll tell you exactly why. Here's a problem with streaming movies, is that if it's there, I have time, right? If I still do Netflix Mail, I don't know who does.
I do too.
Do you? Yeah, that's something where when I get it, I watch it because I know that I have to return it, right? I don't get the next thing until I watch this movie, so it gets prioritized more. With streaming films, like 13 Assassins has not left Netflix streaming since it was first released. I mean, it's been there for like 4 years now. They probably got like a 20-year lease on it, and so I'll see it. I'll go, oh God, I need to watch that someday. It's been in my queue since day one. But if I move it to my DVD queue and it's sent to me, I'll watch it that weekend. Odd kind of mental thing that I always have to get over.
I kept Devil's Backbone for 4 months.
Wow.
Yeah, and I regret not. Once I popped it in, I regret not just watching the first day.
I like that movie. I don't know if it's that popular. I like Devil's Backbone better than the one everybody loves.
Pan's Labyrinth.
Pan's Labyrinth.
Yeah.
It's his best. It's Del Toro's best movie easily.
Yeah.
Easily.
I was more enthralled in that movie than in Pan's Labyrinth.
Yep.
But I also did see. I saw, based on what Shu had said a while back, I watched Expendables 2, and how she was saying how it's better than the first. It's not better than the first Expendables. It's so much worse.
It's way better than the first one. Way better.
No way. It's not even close.
No, it's way better.
Yeah, it's way better if you want to laugh at something and just like, oh, okay, Chuck Norris come in and say that, and now they're off doing something else.
I watched Expendables to learn something about life.
I was like, everything happened for a convenient reason in that movie. Like that, they should just call that the convenience. Like that's what it was. It was just, it was just action for action's sake. It was a mess. I was like, oh, this isn't better.
And so it sounds to me like Warren didn't like it because it finally cut. And now I've not liked any of them, but Warren didn't like it because to some extent it sounds like it delivered on what people were hoping the first one would be. Does that sound about right, T?
But I see. To me, the first one delivered on what it was supposed to be. It was like stupid, basic story, but at the very least, it wasn't like, it just felt like in the Expendables 2, it was like, okay, here's some action. We're gonna move over here for no reason. Here's some more action for no reason. Okay, and now it's done. Now we're gonna move over here for no reason. You know, it was just.
I think that's the reason I liked it. I think the action was better choreographed. It was tighter.
I didn't even think it was better choreographed. Like I don't know. I don't know. I could not. I was like hating, like watching the movie, like getting angrier and angrier. It's like
that's how I felt with the first Expendables. I thought this movie should be tremendously awesome on a level of badness.
Yeah, but see, I'm not saying I love the first one. I'm just saying this first one to me was better than the second one. Like I'm not gonna. The first one is in nowhere in my top 100 movies of all time or anything. Like it's not even close.
It shouldn't.
But you know, it's like the second one is worse than the first one, which is saying a lot, I think. In my opinion.
There's a gulf between us, Warren.
Really?
I
can actually feel the awkwardness right now between you guys, and I don't like what I feel.
There's so many movies I don't care. All I'm saying is, so it's a personal thing that I'm making fun of the Expendables too. Like, wait a minute, you can't talk smack about the Expendables too. I'm pretty sure they made it to talk smack about that movie.
It's a fundamental difference in perception.
I guess. Plus, I couldn't. Chuck Norris. I could not like. Hey, I'm here. Okay, I'm gone. Okay, I'm back. Okay, I'm gone. Like that was just thing. I'm a lone wolf. Okay, I'm part of the team. Now I'm a lone wolf again. Like there, I just did all of Chuck Norris's lines. That was pretty much it.
And probably about as well as Chuck Norris would deliver them too.
Yeah, it was. It just was weird.
So. All right, well then we're gonna wrap it up there.
We should watch the third one.
Sorry, go ahead.
We should watch the third one.
The third one together.
Okay.
To unify the tension.
I want to put you two in a room to watch Expendables 3 and come back and you're just both making out with each other.
We're just like crying and holding each other.
Yeah. It's like you're the Schwarzenegger Jet Li relationship where you're not really saying that you're together, but you're together.
But that was, and also in Expendables 2, like Jet Li's like, I'm out of here. Like the first 5 minutes of the movie, and he never comes back. Like some contract or something like that. Like you gotta like kind of, I have to be in it. Ah, son of a bitch. Oh well, I'm jumping out of a plane.
Well, like I feel like in the third one, it's like Terry Crews gets knocked out of it pretty early because I'm guessing he had like Brooklyn Nine-Nine to shoot or something like that, and they just like quit and get all of his stuff in a hospital bed.
Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, right?
What?
He's the new host of the Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. He's gonna be the next host.
He is?
Really?
The guy's unstoppable.
Terry Crews is becoming the new Ryan Seacrest. He's going to be everywhere.
Yeah, he's everywhere.
He's going to be the talented Ryan Seacrest.
He's going to be the most successful guy coming out of the Expendables. Like
and he wants to be Black Panther.
Oh yeah.
He wants to be Black Panther?
Yeah.
Yeah. Why not?
Why not?
Yeah. So okay, that's it. We're gonna have to do an Expendable. No, we're not gonna do a fucking. That's ridiculous. So all right, T. Where can people find you? And what's next up on your what are some of the upcoming films that you're gonna review if you know?
Probably VHS and VHS2. Beyond the Black Rainbows on that list. That was a recent one. Maybe some Giallo I haven't seen yet. I have to look some up. Maybe hit up our friend Mike for some rare Giallo.
There's a lot of
cheese. There's lots of 80s cheese. What's that?
Yeah. There's a lot of Bava floating around on Netflix right now.
Oh yeah, I gotta catch up on some Bava. So yeah, so it's gonna be fun.
Nice, and they can find that at.
I'm on Facebook. Look me up before they forced me to change my real name. I think that's what they're doing to random people. But otherwise, you can catch me on Twitter at Eltremendo.
And you're just tweeting your reviews this year. You're not actually doing anything.
Yeah, just tweeting and posting them on Facebook. It's just Maybe at Christmas time I'll do actual blog entries.
Keeping it simple. I like it. Warren, where can people find you?
At Warren Graff on Twitter.
And you will not be watching 31 Days of Horror movies whatsoever, I'm guessing.
I don't think so. I mean, I'm a little late to the party, I think.
Yeah, you blew it, kid. You blew it.
Although in November I'll be watching 31 Days of Thanksgiving movies.
Nice. Well, actually,
why didn't you watch your preface Expendables on Thanksgiving?
Like, how do you know my family tradition?
Wow, I like that we can somehow create a rift between you two using the Expendables movies because it's the worst thing to possibly create a rift
Just wait
over.
for the Expendables.
I know that's like the
Wait for the
worst argument.
Expendables.
Also, I
Yeah,
know there's only 30 days in November, so.
so it'll make that one day
But
makes
I
all
will
the
make that
difference.
one extra day.
So, and folks, you can find me at John Santo on the internets or on the Twitters, and I don't do much else other than just that, and this, of course. So join us next Tuesday, where we will be reviewing the cult classic, I will say.
Question mark?
Question mark? Ishtar. I bet this is the one time that Dub was going to wish that he would be here because I don't think he's seen it either, or if he has, it was eons ago and remembers nothing about it and hates it because of its reputation alone. So next week we're going to be watching one of my favorite comedies of all time, Ishtar. Starring Warren Beatty, Dustin Hoffman, written and directed by Elaine May, with songs by the incredibly talented Paul Williams. And shot by like Vilmos Zsigman Vittorio Storaro, I think, shot it. Yeah, it's there's a lot of talent in this movie. So anyways, folks, all right, so next week, Ishtar, right here, 9 p.m. Tuesday. I'm looking forward to it. You should look forward to it. Shu will be back, hopefully, and will play us out. Warren may not be with us. No, but we will find out. He will send us a elongated email to explain all of his likes and dislikes with the movie, or not. I don't know. Anyways, all right. Adios for now, folks, and we will see you next week.